Hey guys, it's me, Sean James, the founder of 999 Capital, and welcome to the very first episode of our new channel. And today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to see if silver is due for a breakthrough. There's a lot of indications across the entire financial news cycle, which I'll be touching on. But before I get started, don't forget to click the subscribe button and click that notification bell in case we put up more videos each week. So give a like as well. But if you've been following the financial news cycle at all lately, you've noticed that any pundit with a teleprompter, all they've been talking about is inflation, inflation this, inflation that. And a big reason for that is that in a lot of countries, especially Canada and the United States, there's been an increase in spending. Now, a lot of that has to do with the stimulus checks that keep getting poured out, and the CRB checks if you live in Canada. These checks provide people with a universal basic income from which they cannot just rely on their job. This gives them some additional paycheck at the table. And although there is a lot of labor shortage right now in the market, doesn't mean necessarily that people are jumping out and getting these jobs. It's because just human nature, right? If someone offers you a $2,000 paycheck a month for free, you don't have to do anything, what would you take? So it's understandable in that regard. But regardless, what this does, it enables the Federal Reserve and a lot of the central banks to keep printing money, that fiat currency. Now you're probably thinking, how does silver factor into all of this? Well, a large part of that has to do with the fiat currency that I was just telling you about. You see, silver and the dollar has an inverse relationship, meaning when the dollar goes down, the silver goes up, and when the silver goes down, the dollar goes up. You saw that back in, I believe, March 2020, when the dollar, it actually skyrocketed, and the price of silver went all the way down to about $16 an ounce. Today it's around, in Canada, it's about $33.61, I believe. And in United States, it's about $29, $28-ish right now. I know there was a dip yesterday, but regardless. And the real reason behind this inverse relationship has a lot to do with history, actually. If you go back to the Great Depression era in the United States, Franklin D. Roosevelt, he was the president of the time, he took everyone off the gold standard because he was following the advice of a lot of the Keynesian economic theorists, which I have my own gripes about, which I won't get into, but it's back then it wasn't as proven, and still not proven, as it is now. And he went off that, and they told him that the best way to grow a stagnant economy was to pump more money back into the money supply. This is where the printing came in. And because gold and silver were still valued a lot more back then than it is today, a lot of these common folk, people like me and you, they just kept hoarding that gold, which decreased the value of the American dollar. FDR didn't want that, the Federal Reserve came in there, and that's why we got the whole fiat currency today. And the silver standard and the gold standard was completely erased. So it brought down the price of silver, but it also brought up the weight of the dollar too. But if you've been looking at the US dollar index, this is where it gets really, really interesting. What you see, and I'll show the chart in the video, but you'll see how it keeps going down. It crosses that 90 mark, and it touches that 90 mark around 3 times. That is pretty low. And if you follow the patterns of how it all correlates between silver and the US dollar on the dollar index, you'll see that every time it goes down, like I said before, silver shoots up. And because it has that historical data to back it up, that it hit that 90 mark, that support level, that means it's due in for a breakthrough. 3 times it broke through the support, meaning it's gonna shoot pretty high up there. How high, I'm not too sure, but definitely a lot of analysts have come together in the COMEX, and they've said that it could even reach up to $60 an ounce. Some have even said $300 an ounce. I don't want to get your hopes up, but that's what they say, and I'm not responsible for what they put out. I'm just relaying the information to you. But silver has always been this amazing metal that has been used across all generations, across all countries, and it's remained a part of their currency for a long period of time, until a lot of this paper money started being printed out. And you can see the effects of it today, with people losing faith in the dollar. I know recently, just yesterday, there was a slight increase in the dollar, and that's mostly because the labor market, it was winding up and more money was being spent on the wages. Because, like I said before, there was some labor shortages, and that spending, that increases the velocity of the money. But it's not going to last for long, and that comes back to my previous point about people not wanting to work as much anymore, because the government keeps wanting to take care of them. I have my own opinion about that. I won't delve too much into that. But another great reason that you should start looking at silver more optimistically is because of the silver mining stocks. And I don't like to compute too much of that, look into too much of that detail, mostly because there's two different industries. We got the physical silver, PSLV, on this side, we got the actual mining of it, the exploration of it on the other side. So there can be a little bit combatant factors that are at play. But for the most part, this is a good indication of where silver is going to go. If you look at, I believe its name, I forget its name, it's Helka. I know Helka was one of them, and not Silver Tiger, but it was another one. But I'll put down the show notes, but if you can see, all of these guys had bullish gains in the past couple months, which is a good indicator that there's still a lot of silver to be mined for. And even though the jurisdictions, they probably cleared them out, they're still going to keep pumping all that silver back up into the silver markets. And now I know in a lot of bullion supplies out there, people are saying there's some silver shortages. I believe the LBMA stated that too. And I forget, I'm not too sure if it was Sprott. I have to look that in for you. But I know LBMA said there's a silver shortage coming. But this also gives you a great indication of where the price of silver may take off. Because if you follow supply and demand, you'll know that lower the supply, it increases the price. There we have it. And another great reason of why you want to start looking at silver a little bit more enthusiastically, start to really look into it as an investment opportunity, is because of the general stocks that are trending right now. If I ask you right now what are the most top 10 stocks that you can pick from, it's always going to be the same. Tesla, SpaceX, we got Apple in there. And what's really cool, and you probably didn't know this, is that silver is used in all of them. How? Well, silver is a good conductor of heat. And if Tesla uses it and if SpaceX uses it, it makes it that much easier to burn fuel. And so the engine, it won't heat up too much. So it's very cost effective. Another great thing about it is with electronics like Apple, they need it for their batteries because, like I said, it's a great conductor of heat. But here's the caveat towards that. Let's say if silver jumps up to, I don't know, $100 an ounce. That's not necessarily going to make Apple or Tesla going to buy up all the silver mines in Peru or Mexico. What it is they're going to look at it and try and go for maybe a cheaper alternative, or they're going to keep using silver. It doesn't really affect their bottom line too much. And the reason why I say that is because silver, it's a great precious metal, don't get me wrong, a lot of people still need it in industrial uses, but it's not like something people are going to die for. I know Apple, they use these palladium magnets. I'm not too sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's these magnets, if they go out of stock, to say the least, Apple will cease to exist, is what basically runs on Apple. But if silver, let's say if it jumped up to $200 an ounce, $300, Apple is not going to die. They're probably going to find cheaper alternatives to do so. That's what they do with their labor in China, right? But those are some of the biggest reasons why you should stay optimistic about silver and keep stacking until the very end. Because right now, like I said before, I mentioned earlier in the video, silver took a bit of a dip, about $1 dip. So this is a great time for you to buy more silver, keep stacking it. I got some great stacking videos from which you can check out. Silver Dragons, a great guide. Check them out as well. But what we're doing at 999 Capital is we're starting sort of like a bank of silver. We realize that the fiat currency is no longer a sustainable system, and we want to help your money grow and you with it. So we're going to be launching at the end of August, early September, so definitely subscribe to our mailing list if you want to receive a free Canadian or US silver dollar. It's only for the first 100 to sign up for an account with us, so be sure to look for that. But in the meantime, enter your email address into our mailing list, and until next time guys, I'm wishing you all the best, happy stacking, and I'll see you in the next video.